Art has so much potential to help people and to bridge communities. And I've always been an artist. I've always used art as a way to communicate very personal things and, convey an emotion. My name is Megumi. I'm 22 years old. I grew up in Turkey and Japan. My father is from Japan and my mother is from the United States. But I grew up overseas my whole life. Came to the US 3 years ago for college. Just graduated this year. And I've been a freelance artist since I graduated. I started this project as my senior thesis, Faces of Mass Incarceration, as a way to merge art and sociology, which is what I was studying. And what made me want to do specifically formerly incarcerated and system impacted people was we had a guest speaker come to our class one time, and he opened up about his whole entire life. I was very impacted by that story. And it just made me feel like, wow, if more people heard this, it could change their whole perspective on the criminal justice system and everything involved with it. First guy I ever painted was a guy named Johnny, and that experience just changed my life, and I think it changed his life too. And just started painting, and I asked him, "What's your story?" And he shared his whole life story. It was a beautiful connection that we were able to create through that interaction. Through art, he was able to have so much time to open up, and I would listen to his story, and I was like, I gotta keep doing this. So I painted more people. Every person I painted told me about 3 more people, and I painted them. And somehow, in the course of 1 month, I painted 14 people, and I exhibited all those paintings at my school for my senior thesis. And it was beautiful, like how they got to see their faces on the wall at this formal reception. I wanted to keep doing like more and more and more. And so I decided I wanted to do 100 portraits and have them in like a giant exhibition. One guy I painted, his name was Ken Hartman. And as I was painting him, I remember Ray came up to me. He's like, "Oh, is this Faces of Mass Incarceration?" And I was just like, "What? Yeah, how did you know?" And he's like, "Oh, I seen it on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. I love your work."
Yeah, I'm Raymond Shepard, former lifer, served 23 years on a 17 to life sentence. Full-time student at Cal State LA and peer support specialist here at the prison wing. Been home about 2 years now, 2 years in June. So yeah, I'm heavily involved in like reentry work, restorative justice work, prevention, intervention. Yeah, I met Megumi here at the Prison Way. I've known about her from social media. I was following her on Faces of Mass Incarceration, and one day I walked into work. I said, "Hey, I know you from social media," and she's like, "Yeah." She didn't know I followed her, and so that's how we met. Was here at the Prison Way. I watched her paint at least 10 people. And, I didn't want to be like, "Hey, how do I get in your collection?" But just one day, she just said, "Hey, when can I paint you?" And I said, "Oh, I've been waiting for you to ask. I'm ready." I've known her story behind the project, which was to humanize those who were formerly incarcerated, right? And there's one thing that she has said that stood out to me was that, we were always identified by our prison ID. And she said that she wanted to paint us so that it gives us our new identity, like apart from the prison, right? And that really stood out to me.
I was painting Ken, and one of the co-founders walked down the stairs and saw my painting, and they were just like, "Wow, we love what you're doing." Like, they just instantly saw the essence of it. And I basically shared my whole heart of the project, and they were like, "We've been waiting for you. Like, this is exactly who we are and exactly what you're doing, like humanizing people. That's exactly what we're all about. So, like, if you want to keep painting people here, you're welcome." It felt like a perfect match with what I was trying to do. Like, beautiful. And I joined all the groups, I met all the people, I started painting the people here one by one. This was perfect because I knew that the people I was bringing to be painted would be welcomed here and that they wouldn't feel judged.
So my name is Brad Christensen, and I'm a sociology professor here at Biola University. I teach a number of classes regarding inequalities and injustices, criminal justice system and our political system, our economic system, and those are kind of my specialties. So Megumi, I met her first time when she was in a class called Social Problems. And so the class was really about the ethics of Jesus and how do you apply those to social problems. And so we talked about mass incarceration was one of the things that we talked about. And that's one of the things that Megumi really impacted her, that conversation. Just as a sociologist, what we talk about when we talk about incarceration in our criminal justice system is, one, it's very unequally applied. It's very targeted towards certain communities and people with who are marginalized already, and dehumanizes them, treats them like second-class citizens. And so, and that follows you even after you've done your time. So it's really hard to get jobs. And it's one group of people that we systemically discriminate against. You know, a lot of people can't see their kids or get student loans or get public housing or vote, sit on juries. So your whole life you're sort of given this second-class citizenship after you've been labeled a felon.
Formerly incarcerated, people that are system impacted, the families of them. Like, it's a very close-knit community, you know, and like it's kind of like our world, man, because like most people don't even want to think about it. My name's Jack McFadden. I was incarcerated at the age of 19 in 1983 for murder. I was sentenced to prison for life without parole. And for the next 36, 37 years, that's what I thought was that's all it was. I was just waiting to die in prison. Then the miracle happened, and then they commuted my sentence. The governor commuted my sentence from life without parole to life with. And I was released last year, 2023. I got out in June, a week before my birthday. I got out on Father's Day. And like, it was pretty cool. Everything about being free is great. You know, but like then the real world kicks in. How are you gonna pay bills? How are you gonna do this? How are you gonna do that? When it's time to get out, you would think that they're gonna help you prepare for that. They do not. If anything, like, they kind of made it harder. One of the most difficult things, man, like, you know, getting out is something that most of us didn't even learn about until recently, man, is like post-incarceration syndrome, and like you go through. And one of the hardest parts is not feeling like you belong, like, you know, like I feel like an alien at times because I left when I was 19, right? And then the world stopped for me. Like, prison's not a world. It's its own little, like, small world, man, that like never grows and never changes. You know, they're still using analog TVs in there. You know, they don't, you know, it's just, everything stays as slow and as far behind as possible because that's the way they want it. You know, people don't use computers, people don't, you know, like, it's very rare that you even use that stuff, man. It's starting to, but, so when you walk out, man, like, you feel like you don't belong. You know, for lack of other words, man, like, even when I was with my family, man, I felt like I was there and I was enjoying it and I was happy, but I didn't feel like I belonged there. At the same time, man, like, my mind and everything else is very stunted when it comes to real world things. And That's like one of the hardest parts, is still adapting to that. Like I still do it, like all of us do, man. Like we worry about doing anything wrong. You know, if I make a small mistake, man, I can go back to prison for the rest of my life. It's as simple as that. So like, that guy cuts you off, or this guy does this, or this guy does that. If I argue with them, it doesn't matter, man. Like if I'm right or wrong, man, like when they show up and as soon as they run my name, man, I'm the one that's wrong, just because of my past. Like everything I do is based on that, because like, this is my safe place. It's like, I'm here a lot. Yeah.
Just the way we document people has so much impact on how we see them and the value we place on them. And historically, oil portraits were only meant for the elite, you know, people who were wealthy and powerful. You know, there was a lot of exclusion with who got an oil portrait. You know, if you go to museums, it's a lot of similar types of people who are painted. And also the idea that people who are formerly incarcerated, they get a mugshot, and that mugshot can totally just destroy their image and dehumanize them. You know, people look at mugshots and be like, oh, criminal, you know. Don't even see any humanity in people. And just the power that those two images have and being able to flip it, I think that's a really cool part of this project, is being able to give dignity and honor to people who have been stripped of that.
If someone watched this video, what would I like them to know? First of all, I guess I should say my name. My name is Fred Griffin. I have been home from prison after serving 16.5 years for going on 9 months now. I'm a father, I'm a boyfriend, I'm a brother, I'm a friend, I'm a peer support specialist. But more than anything, I'm a survivor. And I feel like that's important to highlight, because oftentimes I never really honored the part of me that had to survive so much adversity. A few weeks ago, a person was telling me like, man, you've done so much work on yourself. And I got emotional. And they were like, do you not like receiving compliments? And I'm like, it's not that. It's I can't help. When a person tells me how much work I've done, I can't help but see all the pain I caused to get here. And so for me, they go hand in hand, which is why I can't help but be around people who are in pain and want to relieve it.
You feel like obligated.
I do, in a sense of like, because I can't go back and undo the things that I've done, I could help other people not carry the things that were done to them. Oh yeah. Oh, with the thick eyebrows. Come on now. With the cross. I love it. Oh.
Yeah, here, let's get a photo of you holding it.
I came from spending time with my daughter, and like, I'll never know what she sees, right? But like looking at that painting, I realized what other people see is not what I see, right? There's no scars on that painting. There's no CDCR or no like you're damaged or you're a monster. Like, that's a human being right there. It was great. It was emotional. It was challenging. It was, it felt humane. I think that's the word that I would describe. So I feel honored.
These paintings are birthed out of an experience, like a very powerful experience of two people opening up their hearts and their souls to each other.
A lot of the folks that she painted committed pretty serious crimes. Some of them murder, some of them violent crimes. And the stories that you hear in the audio humanizes them and makes you realize that they're much more than the worst thing that they've done in their lives.
The process was actually heartwarming for me, to be honest with you.
You know, most people that are her age, man, are more worried about where are we going to drink, where am I going to go make some money, where am I going to do this, like, and that's not what she's thinking, though. You know, it's almost baffling to me because I keep thinking about, like, what was I thinking at her age?
Something in me wants to find out, like, the good in them and, like, find it and show it to the world. So I think I'm gonna do that for a while. Yeah.